Hi, this is the Ridge Runner with another Pine Home Primitives moment. I'm here today talking to you about a new knife I just got. And it's definitely falls into the camping with no budget realm. This particular knife is absolutely beautiful. It's a Russell Green River Works. Well, it comes under two names. It comes under the hunter or the fish knife. Depends on where they're selling it, I guess, because if they want to sell it to a guy who cuts up fish, they call it a fish knife. If they want to sell it to a guy who hunts or takes it out in the woods, they call it the hunter. And this knife is made out of 1095 high carbon steel. It's made in the good old USA. And full tang, of course. Has something about Green River Works. If you don't know, it's one of the oldest companies, cutlery companies in the world, in the country. They've been making knives pretty much regularly since the early 1800s. I'm not going to give you the full history lesson, but you should look it up because it's quite interesting. It's almost a history of the settling of the American West. And pretty much these knives, this company's knives, were the knives that were carried in the Old West, and for mountain men and for fur traders and all kinds of people. I mean, it wasn't the Bowie knife, it was this. Now, let's talk a little bit about this knife, and we're going to compare and contrast between this knife and another. Now, the beauty of this knife, and I got this in the mail and I was blown away, let me tell you. I've never owned a Green River before. I've owned some old hickories which are similar and stuff like that, but this is a purpose-built knife. It's designed for the outdoorsman, but as you can tell, it's as simple as an old hickory. It's got three brass rivets, and it has, you know, a simple wooden handle. No fancy guard, no nothing. This one retails for anywhere from like $20 to $29, which, you know, puts it at the slightly upper end of the camping with no budget, but most certainly in that realm. There's another one that I'm going to be getting next. It's a 4.5 inch blade version of their Butcher. It's another one of their Sheath knife designs, and that one there again has this cross-hatched, you know, grip on it, which tells you it's designed for people who have to use it with their hands all muddy and gooey and whatever. Another company, by the way, is Dexter Russell, if you want to know. And if you are in the meat industry or whatever, you know that that's what the meat packing companies, they all use them. And same company. They merged at some point in the early 1900s and became Dexter Russell. And the Dexter was the Green River, and then Russell, or I think it was. I may be wrong on that. Doesn't matter. Point being, this knife. Let's go over the way this knife works. This is a flat grind. It means its grind goes from the edge, from the back of the blade, all the way down to the edge. And it is sharp, and I'm talking sharp. It's very rare that I've gotten a knife of any cost or any value that has been this sharp right out of the box. It's light, and if you see, it's thin, and that's a hallmark of an outdoorsman's knife. If you were to talk to somebody like George Washington Sears or Horst Keppert or you know, whatnot, they didn't want a big thick knife. They didn't want the big massive thick blades that we have in today, and we seem to produce knives that are supposed to look like these. I'm using the sheath, for instance, from the Condor not the Keppert, the Nesmik. And the problem with the Condor Nesmik is it is Nesmik shaped, and you know, George Washington Sears, it's his design, But if you were to take one of these back in time to hand to George Washington Sr. and say, "Here, we're making your knife," he'd go, "No, you're not. It's too thick. We put way too much steel into these knives." And the issue is the way Dave Canterbury puts it, and I think it says it best, is we try to go for the one tool option, and it doesn't work. Now this is an outdoorsman's knife. It's thin, it's flexible, it's strong, and it has a good keen edge with a good point. So you can do lots of different fine tasks. You can choke up on it, you can move it back here, and there's nothing getting in the way of the handle of you moving your hand around the knife for various tasks you want to do. If you got to gut a fish, fish knife, or or a deer or whatever, this knife will do it for you. It's light. It doesn't sit heavy on your hip. You're not going to know it's there, but it's handy when you want to. It's get-at-able, as another outdoors person that I try to emulate a little bit, and that being Bradford Angier. You want a knife that's comfortable, get-at-able, and you don't need a lot of bells and whistles on them, people. You don't need the big, expensive cutlery company things. Now, this has been my go-to for a long time. It still will be. I love this knife. This is my Bruceletto. I don't even know the particular model of Bruceletto. What I do know is that it's got the Scandinavian grind, and I like that a lot. The only thing I've ever had a problem with is that the Bruceletto, this little Bruceletto, is just a bit short. It just doesn't do everything I want it to do. I like a 5-inch blade. This is like a maybe a 4-inch blade. I've never measured, to be honest. It's a little dirty right now too. Gosh. Long and short of it is that either one of these will do a great job in the woods, and this one has. This has served me very well. Light, get-at-able, secure, as I went through in another show. It's just a fine little blade, but what makes this one superior is the fact that it is just a little bit longer, and that flat grind makes for a really good, when you need to get in there and carve. And I'm going to take this out, and we're going to videotape some cutting demonstrations with this and a few other knives that I've gotten over the past year, in a very short time. And what I will say things about this knife, impressions about this knife are this: I have got the quality of this knife far outsteps its cost. I have had knives that I've spent a lot more money on that have not come to that do not, I haven't taken it out and used it yet, but from the first impressions, this knife outsteps some of those much more expensive knives. Not that I'm throwing them away, but I might give them away because I just don't need them if I've got something of this quality and of this caliber in such a low cost package. So basically, long and short is this: get one. There you can get it, like I said, anywhere from $20 to $27. It depends on where you're getting it from. You get it cheaper under the fish knife name. It's the 5-inch fish knife, or the Hunter. If you put the Hunter name on it, bad things about this knife: it does not come with a sheath. Like I said, I had to cannibalize from another knife. Now, I spent like $50 on the Nesmik. Sheath's worth more than the knife because I can put this one in it. There are sheaths on Amazon that'll fit this, and they're about almost the same price as the knife, sometimes even more. But you can make one for yourself, even out of black PGP plastic. Maybe we'll do a video on that someday. But I'm getting on towards 9 minutes and some odd seconds here, so I'm going to close this out by saying that the Russell Green River Hunter / fish knife is definitely, I'm not going right to the top of my list of recommendations, especially if you're on a budget. But in general, I don't care if you could have tons of money, and if you take this knife in the woods, like I say, I haven't cut with it yet, but there's a lot of guys out there who are using these already, and I've watched some of their things, and they're cutting with them regularly, and they're doing a lot of work with them, and they work. So my first impression is you can't go wrong for less than 30 bucks with a knife like this. And it gives you a good tool that you don't have to. You can put more money into ammunition or into materials to build a backpack or whatever. Knife's one of the most important tools. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. So with that being said, I urge you to like and subscribe if you like the content of our videos, and as time goes on, I'll be adding more videos of this nature where you're not just seeing talking hands. You're going to see a lot more in the future of us being in the woods working with these tools, and I hope you like this. And if you do, please like and subscribe. It helps me out to know that people are watching and are enjoying this. And if you have any input, if you want to see something you haven't seen on here, please, just in the comments below, please give us a holler and let us know. Rick and I are going to be doing a lot more of these sorts of types of videos with everything from food processing in the home to gardening to lots and lots of woodcraft and camping. So with that, this is the Ridge Runner signing off. Bye-bye.